Welcome to the Healthy Life podcast that doesn't hold back. We discuss all subjects from wellness, healthy eating, and fitness. Welcome to Healthy Life.
Hey, we got a new episode today. So it's Beckie and is it Berni? Yeah, I'll probably say it wrong now. Okay, Berni. I said Berni. I should have known. I'm typing your name out lots on the last podcast. So here we're talking about more diabetes, but you've got lots of questions. You've got a lot of tech. You know, you've been talking off camera at the moment, and you've got some amazing bits here, and as you can see on camera as well. But we'll talk about it a bit more anyway. So, well, let's start with a little bit about your history, a little bit. Summarise it, just to catch up.
So, I became type 1 diabetic a week before my 19th birthday. So I'm actually turning 32 tomorrow. So yeah, I've been diabetic quite a while. I was working in retail. I was working on the till. I was very, very thirsty, needed to go to the toilet loads. And I was like, what's wrong with me? You know? And then I woke up the next day, I had conjunctivitis, went to the doctors, gave me eye drops. I then said to him, I've been drinking a lot more, been going to the toilet a lot more. Did a couple more checks, and that's how I found out I was diabetic. So yeah, blood sugars, I think there was something along the lines as over 20 something, and yeah, had to be rushed to hospital. So yeah, not great.
Close up from there. So then Berni.
Yes, so I was diagnosed when I was 28 and I was expecting my first child. It was completely out of the blue. Didn't expect to be diagnosed at all, and I ended up in the hospital, and that was 26 years ago. So yes, diagnosed type 1.
How long was you in hospital for?
Oh gosh, I was in for about 2 weeks because I was really poorly. I actually got DKA, so I got diabetes ketoacidosis. So that's what I ended up with. So I was 4+ ketones. So yeah, but I then had to learn how to use insulin and with the insulin pens, which I had. But it was a bit difficult.
And this was whilst you was expecting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I had just another month to go. So it was a big
really tough.
Yeah. I was actually on holiday at the time, so I really had nothing with me to prepare.
Here's a question, actually. When you come pregnant and you've kind of been diagnosed as diabetes, and it can kind of go away, pregnancy finishes, is that common, or is it not so common where you carry on still having it after the pregnancy?
I think it's really individual. So for some, yes, absolutely. But then it can come back again later on in life, as I've heard. But for me, they are wondering whether it actually was just gestational. Did I have type 1 actually and just happened to be shown up when I was expecting my first? So, we're not quite sure. But I think it really is an individual situation.
Is it heritable?
I have an identical twin who doesn't have diabetes at all. And there's no one else in my family with diabetes, so I think for me it just happened. Okay. I was only £1.14 when I was born. I was actually an unexpected child. In fact, a bit of a shock to my parents that I had 2 children instead of 1. So I think
14.
Yes. So maybe that played into it a bit.
Okay, and
with myself, it's just my granddad who was in his 80s and type 2 diabetes. I always get asked, is anyone in my family? There's nobody in my family with diabetes. So yeah, again, unexpected, and yeah.
So what is diabetes? What is it? Is it a failure in chemical in your body?
Yeah, so we make hormone called insulin, and it really is a failure of making insulin, really. For type 1, it's definitely a complete failure, and you don't make any insulin, and that's the difference between type 1 and type 2. And so for me, mine was a very gradual failing, we think, and that's why I didn't have real issues right at the beginning. But so I think, it is that failure of making insulin.
I remember when I went in, they used to refer back to this honeymoon phase. So my pancreas was still creating a bit of insulin, and then basically after so long, it then just stops. Yeah.
So what does I'm going to try and get a bit more understanding here as well. It's me learning something new today actually as well. So why does our bodies actually create insulin? As you say, is it the pancreas?
Pancreas. Yeah. I'll let you explain it a bit better.
Yeah, no, it's definitely all to do with the pancreas. If that's not working properly, then you will end up with diabetes, and And it can happen to anyone really at any age. So there's some really young children that are diagnosed at a very young age, and as we age as well, your pancreas perhaps doesn't work as proficiently as it was, and therefore you can end up with diabetes, but at a much later stage in life.
So with us producing insulin, is that to help break the sugars down in the stuff we absorb in?
Yeah, it's also about the glucose and breaking that down, and therefore being able to manage what your levels of your glucose are within your body.
I mean, our body is quite amazing what it does and produces
absolutely.
and what functions. You don't hear much about the pancreas. You hear about kidneys all the time and bladders and stuff.
I just don't think there isn't enough awareness out there how much diabetes can cause so many complications, and I'm learning every day. I really am learning every day, but. Yeah, just that one thing that's not working, and then all those other things that can go wrong.
Yeah, and can affect your whole body. So diabetes, they say that diabetes affects everywhere in your body where there's blood. Yeah.
And also affects life around you as well. Yes. So how does it kind of affect your day to day?
I mean, no day is the same. No day definitely isn't the same, and it is challenging. I'm still very much learning how to balance my blood sugars out. Again. It's your diet as well. I also feel it does play a big part in your mental health as well. And it's just hard, day-to-day life. Like, say if you're working, you're that one person out of that room who's different because you're diabetic. Oh, I've just got to step aside because I'm having hypo, my blood sugars have dropped, or I've got to just go and do an injection. And, I feel like the older I've got, I feel like I don't care what people think now. Like I've got to live. This is my life, so I'm just going to do what I need to do. But also, your lives are so busy as well. I've got a little one, and sometimes life gets so busy that sometimes you forget you've got diabetes, and then you're like, oh no, I can't do that because now I'm paying for it. Now I've got stupid high blood sugars. Why did I do that? Do you know what I mean? And every day is so different. You can't plan yourself to be like, right, today I'm going to do this and tomorrow I'm going to do that, because one day, you could be really, really stressed. That affects your blood sugars. One day you could then fall ill because, again, diabetes makes your immune system drop, doesn't it? So
I suppose in a way it takes the enjoyment out when you go out somewhere nice and don't think I've got to worry about what I'm eating, what I need to do.
Yeah, it can do, but with me, a part of my head will say that to me, and then I think, do you know what? No, I'm not going to let it overrule my life because I need to enjoy myself.
Yeah, absolutely. You just have to live with it.
You literally do just have to live with it, and I definitely do find now the more people I'm meeting who are diabetics, I just find the support is just great. You just don't feel alone. I think I've spent many years being alone, being a diabetic, and probably hiding it. But,
it's like today you learned quite a bit from what we're seeing here with the tech.
Yeah, I've learned loads.
New toys to buy.
Yeah. So my next stage will definitely be carb counting. I'm going on I think it's a 4-week or a 5-week course, and I think it's called Daphne. Am I right? Yeah. So I'm going to go and do that.
I like the names they call these things.
So Daphne is dosage adjustment for normal eating.
That's it.
That's what it stands for. So really knowing how many units of insulin to take for what you're going to eat, and it's normal eating. So in other words, you can eat what you want, what you want to eat, but this is how you dose for it.
Yeah. So I'll be learning, that will be my next thing to learn, and then hopefully, maybe try out a pump. So I've spoken to you loads about pumps, so I feel like I thought there was only maybe one or two, but seems to be loads.
Well, I remember seeing on your TikTok when you was actually taking your sensor off, and what was kind of behind it and stuff, and then putting one back on.
Yeah.
So has that helped quite a bit, having a sensor?
A sensor, they are really, really helpful. I'm keeping track much better of what my blood sugars are doing. And then obviously my diabetic team, they can log in and they can view the readings as well. Yeah. It's just a lot easier. I started off with blood glucose needle pricking set. What I don't know what you call it now. And just getting a needle out, getting a lancet out, pricking your finger, blood everywhere. It was just I don't know about you, but it was a bit of a nightmare.
You were talking about earlier about the old days.
Well, when I was diagnosed in 1996. And for me, I left the hospital being diagnosed with diabetes with just some strips of paper, really. And what I had to do is find a sewing needle from home, because there was no finger prickers then, and find a sewing needle and sort of put it in some boiling water and then prick my finger and then put that on a strip of paper. And on that strip of paper, it had colours on it. And so my sugar level could have been anything between 5 and 8 or 9 and 11 or 12 and 15. You know, you didn't get a number, definitely.
So you're going with the colour of the blood?
Yes, you get the blood changed the strip of colour on the strip, and that was basically how you had to guess basically what your sugar level was. It really was very much guesswork in those days. Yeah.
What are modern times? Things change.
Honestly, just in 26 years, it's incredibly exciting.
And it's like the Libra Free that's coming available.
It's coming up. Yeah.
So that's a smaller sensor, isn't it? And then I don't think you have to even scan it. It just reads it.
Exactly. So at the moment, there's a Libra 1, which I'm going to have the Libra 1 with another device called a Meow Meow, which turns it into a proper CGM. So CGM stands for Continuous Glucose Monitor. The actual Libra isn't actually considered that, the Libra 1 and 2, because you have to scan it. So it's an IS CGM, so intermittently scanned CGM, which is different from a real-time CGM. So this what I'm wearing actually changes it into a real-time CGM. So that's and the Libra 3 coming out will be a proper CGM, so that you won't need to scan on that at all. And it's so exciting to see this technology coming forward. It's such a pace. So when you have an insulin pump, for example, and I really hope you're able to have one soon, you have a contract. And it's like having a phone. So you have a phone contract, usually lasts 2 years. But when you have an insulin pump at the moment, the contract actually lasts 4 years. And you can't actually change your pump unless you have an individual funding request within 4 years. Okay, so basically I've had this pump here since the end of December 2019, or the setup. So and then you get to choose the next pump. But as things are moving... So
you get that for 4 years?
Yes, you get this A pump. If it's a tubed pump, so there are 2 types of pumps. Mm-hmm. There's a tubed pump, so that comes with a cannula and a wire, tubing, really, that's attached to the pump. And I had one of those for a fair few years. And there are a few what they call patch pumps. So this is a patch pump, and Omnipod make a patch pump, and Medtron make a patch pump. This one is the Roche Solo Micro Pump. And which I chose for a variety of reasons. You can have a choice of pumps. It just means that there's no tubing there. And that's where things I think are moving, eventually. But at the moment, it's quite good.
Punch patch? What am I calling it? What is it?
Punch patch.
Patch pump, yeah. Patch pump, that's fine, yeah. Or pump, yeah.
Where can you put it on your body?
So I've still got mine on my arm, but literally you can have it anywhere you really want. I mean, it depends on, so some absorption is better. So the arm is good, your stomach's area good. I've worn it on there too. Mm-hmm. Your lower back is quite good as well. So I mean, I've got it on show today, but I don't have to. I don't have to have it there. Yeah. Same with the Libra. I mean, you have to have it here. You can have it elsewhere, and they've actually recommended you that you can actually have it elsewhere. They used to say back of your arm, actually, that is moving away from that now. Yeah. So I could have it completely hidden if I wanted to. I don't always, so I'm not say I'm proud to have diabetes, but I don't mind showing that I have diabetes, because in your last podcast, I thought it was so great how you said, you might meet people like you, and I think that's so true. When you have diabetes, you don't really want to be the only one. And there might be someone else out there with a pump or a CGM or something like that. And you feel like you have a connection with them. So,
funny that, because when we went on holiday last year, we went to Ibiza in Spain, and I literally kept going, they've got Libra. Look, that one's got a Libra. They're like me. And I'm like, I wonder if they say that about me. And then you feel like, do I go up to them and be like, hey, you're
Yeah.
like me.
Yeah.
You know?
People like me are going to fill out of it.
Out of place, exactly. So when you go to conferences, and there's lots of conferences, there's a JDRF have a tech conference, DRWF with Diabetes Research Wellness Foundation. They also have conferences, and it's lovely going along because there are so many people with diabetes, and you're literally like, wow, you're looking at all these different pumps, and you learn so much from days like that. So I've really appreciated going along to those.
Yeah, that's a good point actually, because it's telling people you're not on your own.
Yeah,
there's lots of support out there, you know. So, and you've mentioned quite a bit as well, you know. So, with the pump and stuff, like saying you can wear it anywhere else and stuff, do you find is that your favourite position, on your arm?
Yeah, I mean, I've been wearing it on my lower back recently as well. I quite like it on my arm because I can easily get to it.
Yeah.
So on this pump, which is the solar micro pump, I can actually remove it. So if I take it off here, there it is.
How often do you
And
have
look
to
up.
change
Every 3 days, I change this. I change the cannula part. So this is very unique. I mean, there's no other pump that does this particular bit, I don't think. So I have my cannula here, and then I just plug it back in. And then I can.
So in a way, you don't need to kind of take it on and off your arm because it obviously in two parts. So you can take it off, refill.
I can change the cannula without having to change the whole thing, which I think is really good.
Yeah.
And then I've got some couple of buttons here as well. What I think is really clever with this pump is that I can actually do a bolus on this pump without having to go to my handset. So I'll just get my handset here and show you. So you generally get a handset with an insulin pump. Here's mine. And it's got so you can carb count. So you're saying about carb counting, so you'll learn how to carb count, and on that you'll put your how much carbohydrates you're having, and then it will work out also how much insulin you need to take, and you literally press a button, and then it will automatically feed that information to your insulin pump. Okay, so that's that. But on this insulin pump that I've got, I can also bolus on it without needing my handset. So I'm very tech actually, because I've got my Freestyle Libre here, and I've got my Meow here, and that goes to my phone, which then goes to my watch. So on my watch, it tells me what my sugar level is. And that's really handy because at the moment it's 9.2, and I'm thinking, actually, I would like to take some insulin because that's a little bit high. So all I need to do then is
I had insulin at 9.2, I'd hypo.
So all I need to do then is get to my pump and then press 2 buttons. It makes a little noise.
And that's giving you insulin now?
I press 1 button for 1 unit of insulin.
That's what I was going to say. How do you know how much insulin's going? It's very
1
clever.
unit, and then it's going to start giving me that bolus of insulin now.
Can you feel it?
No, not at all. No, I mean it's really funny because you think, gosh, this is going to be so painful, and this is going to be so difficult. In a minute we'll make another noise. That means that's been delivered. Yeah. So that's going to be that's really handy. So
I suppose because obviously it's in your arm, and you kind of forget about it once it's in there. You know, and then delivering that, as you're saying, it's not like you're having an injection put in. Just coming naturally into your body.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just told me it's
I like the tone as well, knowing what tone means what as well.
Exactly. So you get different tone for when the insulin needs the cartridge or reservoir needs to be changed. There is learning to do, but actually, as you said, like getting on a bike and riding a bike, last podcast, it's very similar like that. You get used to it pretty quickly.
Do you get training with the pumps?
Yes. Yes. So when you start on a pump, you have pump start day, and usually that you go to the hospital or you might go to another place that they've booked, and the rep from that company will be there. Then your DSN will be there, and then you'll be basically learning how to. You'll be looking at the pump, and sometimes it might be the first time you've actually touched the pump. So that's why I go to a lot of these tech days, because you actually get to handle the pump and see what it's like.
Well, I know who I'll be calling for help now.
And then
well, have you two connected yet?
Yeah, exactly. We'll do, sure. And then basically you learn on that day all about the pump, and you set the pump up.
Yeah.
And then you start from there. But they're there very much to support you in your journey. And there's Facebook. I mean, I would say also, if you are thinking of going on a pump and you do Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, do look on those sites, because there are going to be people using the actual pump you're looking at to see if they want to use it as well. And that's how I've made my decision for my next insulin pump. I've loved using this one, but it's not loopable. And that's really the next journey going on is looping. And looping is, which I've used with a DIY system called Android APS, is when you will have your CGM will talk to your phone and give you your sugar level, and your phone will then decide, do you need more insulin or less insulin? And it will tell your pump automatically what to do.
That's amazing.
And if you're going to have a hypo, the arrows are going down, it will switch your pump off altogether.
I need that one.
And then it will basically turn back on if needs be.
Well, it's saving a lot more time, and it's making it automated, so you can still get on with the day, not worrying about where your levels are.
Exactly.
And it's kind of taking care of you.
It's a lot easier when you're looping. And there's 3 commercial systems. So you've got CAM APS out there. You've got Tandem Control IQ out there as well. And there's another one that's coming out as well. So there's 3 that's really good and worth. Medtronic, I think, had their own 780 one as well, so that's great. And then the DIY community have Android APS, which is the one that I used. Yeah. And there's a book, if anyone's interested in looping, then there's a brilliant book by Dana M. Lewis, which I think will be tagged down on the bottom, so you can have a look and read on how looping is and how it started and what it involves.
Yeah, no, it sounds interesting.
That's
a diabetic's always learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm
always learning.
Well, that's a great thing about the podcast. People out there that at least either just got at it or have got it and struggling and stuff. There's tech out there, and there's good conversations.
Yeah, it's great.
So yeah. So any questions you'd like to ask?
Well, I'm just thinking. Yeah, I think, like I said, the next stage is my carb counting.
Yep.
And then we'll see where that takes me.
Yep.
And then pump. So
it's definitely, I think pumping isn't for everyone. Okay, some people are really happy on MDI, multiple daily injections, and that's where they want to stay. And especially if their HbA1c, which is your level of your sugar, is absolutely fine, you may want to stay on there. And there's no pressure to go on a pump or to loop or anything like that. But for some people, they just want to take that next step. I didn't ever want to use an insulin pump at all. I never wanted to. It was only when I actually saw one in person and I actually held one and I realised exactly what it was that I thought, gosh, I'd really like to use an insulin pump. And so I started with a Roche combo insulin pump, and then I went to the Insight insulin pump, which is one I looped with on Android APS. And then I moved from there to the Roche Solo Micro pump. So this is my third.
Do you feel a difference? Like, do you feel like you have better control, like doing the carb counting and the pump? And
I think I understand my diabetes a lot more, managing it the way that I do now.
Yeah.
And I can think, yes, okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I can almost say, okay, I think so you said in your other podcast about exercising and how that, if I exercise, I'm exercising a bit too much and I'm looping, then it's going to naturally just cut my pump off if it recognises I'm going down. So
really
that's where that's so useful because you don't have to think, I'm going to have a hypo. And the amount of hypos I had looping actually dramatically decreased because it already realised I was going to have a hypo and therefore do that.
What happens in your sleep? Like I can wake up to a hell of a lot of hypos.
Yeah.
Does it do the same then with
the
it?
Same. So
you wouldn't, because I'll have hypo in the night. The next day I'm drained.
Yeah,
I've had that hypo.
Absolutely. Exactly. So it work in your sleep exactly as if you were awake, but you won't know at all and until you look at the data the next day. And I use something called Night Scout, and Night Scout is a brilliant little it's a website really that you create yourself, and when I was looping I used that a lot to see was I hyping in the night, because I've got really good hypo awareness, so I wake up with a hypo, but I wasn't waking up, so it's like, okay, did I have a hypo or not? And I could see, it saved me from a hypo. And equally, if your levels are going up, like dawn phenomenon and all that sort of thing,
it's just more safe. It's just more safe for you. Really,
yes, I mean,
I'm going to ask this question then, because when you talk about hypo, and I got a different impression of that. Kids doing a hypo. It's kind of old-fashioned word, isn't it? So explain to me, like, what isn't a hypo? What does it? Was it kind of what you go through?
Hypos is, so for me, I'd say anything from 4 downwards, maybe 4.5. Would you say 4.5?
Well, I think it's, do you know what?
Everybody's
I think it's
different.
Such an individual thing, because if your sugar levels are generally quite raised, then you're going to feel a hypo higher than someone who is usually with a 5 or a 6.
I would say from 4.5.
Okay.
Anything from 4.5 down, like lower.
Okay.
For me personally, again, everyone's different. I get shaky. I can go hot, I can get sweaty. I then don't talk normally.
Yeah.
I'm all like gobbledygook because my brain's not functioning, and I can feel faint.
Yeah.
Just need to sit down, and literally you just need sugar. That is how I feel. And sometimes you can have hypos and you don't realise you're having them. I don't know if you're the same. You can wake up to having low blood sugars, and they just drain you. They really do drain you. And then you just have to have your like I said in the last podcast, I have my jelly babies, or might have a dextrose. Then you've got to have your carbs to keep that sugar up. And then I usually go then too high because I've binged eaten all my sugar.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm like, I want these sugars to go up.
I know. It's I think hypo is the worst feeling you can have, and it's the one thing that really reminds me I've got diabetes. Because whenever hyper, I don't actually get any symptoms at all,
Just
and
get a bit
so it's
tired.
like it's just horrid. You can't even imagine. I don't know. It just makes you feel so weak.
You know when
horrible.
you haven't eaten for a little while and you kind of feel a bit hangry, and then you might get the shakes. That's how I try and explain it to a non-diabetic. It feels like you're having a hypo at that stage, but for us, it progresses and it gets worse if we don't act fast.
If you don't, it can go down quite quickly as well. So
this is kind of a reframing a little bit. I've driven little boats, so when you make the adjustments, you have to make adjustments and wait, and it turns. So it's kind of way when you bring your sugar levels up, be patient enough to allow it to change.
That's it.
Yeah, and you can't leave it. You've got to do something about it. It's like
it can be it can be really dangerous if you were to leave it. Like I don't know if you have ever experienced anything, but I haven't experienced anything where I've had to I've passed out. Well, maybe I have, maybe once or twice.
Yeah, I've had a situation fairly recently where my husband sort of found me in the front room, and you think, oh my gosh, she's having a hypo, and he went and grabbed some. So I bought from Amazon, right, 1,000 sachets of sugar, which have been absolutely brilliant actually. And so I just grabbed a handful of those.
Shot those.
Yeah, literally sugar dump. I call it sugar dumping.
Yeah.
And they're so easy to open, and just literally take them, and that's it. And the worst time I ever had to do that was when I'd literally sitting in the dentist chair, and I'd literally just had my teeth cleaned by the hygienist.
Oh no!
I thought, I'm having hypo, and so she had to run off and get some dextrose, something or other, and it was like, oh no, I don't believe I just had my teeth cleaned.
Yeah.
Place.
It's always the way. You've gone to sleep, 3:00 in the morning, you wake up, you're having a hypo.
Yeah.
So the last thing you want to do is stuff your face with sugar.
Exactly.
Also, that's going to drain you for working as well.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Or even day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, that's why looping's so great, because it would really reduce that.
Yeah,
so.
I'm very much looking forward to this next journey because anything to prevent.
Yeah.
Maybe the next podcast is when you got your bump.
Yeah, that's
Or the next stage of what you want to do next.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
Maybe get a group together and get people to kind of form something local as well.
That would be really good, because there's nothing really. So for those listening here who maybe are near to Basingstoke, there is a Diabetes UK Basingstoke group there. So that's a group that people can actually go to, and they're quite active. So that's quite nice. But as I say, there are lots of charities out there to help out, JDRF and DRWF, and they're great at organising events for people to go to meet others and learn about diabetes, because I think that's what we really need. We want to learn. We want to see what's available and what is going to be available for us in the future.
It's just nice, isn't it, talking to somebody else who's going through the same thing. It really is. I mean, I know us diabetics are not the same, but we can relate.
That's what I like about the podcast. It gets us talking about the conversations, gets you meeting the people as well,
absolutely,
and creating that kind of network, Brilliant. So thanks very much, guys.
Thanks for having us.
We'll get you back soon and sort of follow the journey a little bit.
Yeah, brilliant.
See if we can get some sort of local group sorted out. I love the idea of doing that, actually.
Yeah, brilliant.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Here at SMJ Media Group, we are a non-profit company providing fun, free content for local businesses. If you like our content and would like to support us, please visit buymeacoffee.com/SMJ Media Group and buy us a coffee.